All right, we are prepared to convene the meeting. Hello, everybody, and welcome to September that feels like July in Boise, Idaho. So we begin with a roll call.
Thompson,
Yes.
Vasconcellos,
He's online. Oh, no, no, I'm sorry, he's not. My mistake.
that's okay. Boesiger,
Here.
Nicholas,
I am here.
okay. Cunningham,
Here.
Westergaard,
Here.
Brigadier General Donnellan,
Here.
Willits, Bajan,
Here.
we have a quorum.
Thank you. Very good. So we're going to start our business today. Every year we, as a commission, elect from ourselves a chair and a vice chair. And I am, this will be my last meeting as chair. I'm finishing up my year of duty. And so Bill Vasconcellos has agreed as our sitting vice chair to step up to the role of chair. And Jamie Boesiger has agreed to step into the vice chair role. So we need to formally elect our new officers.
Motion for each role, and it does not need to be a roll call vote.
Okay, so do we have a motion for vice chair Bill Vasconcellos?
So moved.
A second. All in favor, aye?
Could I just clarify?
Yes.
For Bill Vasconcellos, who's the current vice chair, to move to the chair role.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. I didn't say that. Clarification.
Just so we have it right in the
In
minutes.
the minutes, yes.
Thank you.
Do we have a second for the motion as amended?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Do we have a second motion for Jamie Boesiger to be elected to the role of vice chair? So moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you very much for agreeing to serve.
Thank you, Meg, for your service.
So next order of business will be the approval of the minutes. You have all received the minutes and had the opportunity to review. Yes.
Minutes.
Do we have a second? Thank you. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. We now move into the director reports from our awesome director, Rebecca.
Good morning. Thank you. It is good to be here. And I do agree. It feels a little bit more like July than September, but I feel cooler weather coming our way. And as long as it's not snow, I'm going to be happy with that. All right. Here for a minute, I thought my screen wasn't going to scroll and we were going to have a technical issue. So we usually start out by talking about our operations and things that are happening on the airfield. We did have some closures over the month of August, and you can see it was all pretty much for routine light maintenance and airfield paint repair. Those are things that we do every year. We try to time it so that it has as little impact as possible on the flying public, but it's just necessary maintenance. When you drove in this morning, you probably noticed the parking garage is really starting to take shape. It's exciting because we're past the point of all of the groundwork being done and we're starting to actually go vertical on that. We did open the new exit plaza on August 17th. So if you haven't flown between then and now, today when you exit our parking structure, you'll be able to exit. Through the exit plaza, we actually demolished the old plaza because that will be public parking. And then on the east public garage, we placed the slab on what we call area B, and just some of the more technical pieces there to the construction that we've been working on related to the public parking garage. But it is on time and on budget, and so that makes us all very happy. The employee parking garage, which is on the opposite side of the existing public garage is also starting to take shape. You can see that we've started pouring the footings for that, and the forms for the retaining wall are in place. The stair and elevator tower are being placed. And so that is actually starting to look like a parking garage as well. So, more good news. As you walked in this morning, if you are paying attention, you may have noticed that we have started construction on expanding our checkpoint. This will be done in about 6 months, and it's phased to not interfere with our checkpoint operations. So it'll primarily happen at night. This will be to remove the 94.9, the river store, and queuing will go there. We'll actually add a 7th lane, and then the exit lane will be pushed over as you're facing the checkpoint to the left-hand side into that meter grader area. Taxi lane Sierra is also in progress. This is the taxi lane. We're widening it to accommodate larger aircraft that will be operated by Amazon as part of their new cargo facility. And that is in progress. We're actually in phase 4. The cargo facility is also coming along. We expect that their first flight will be in early November. And then as part of that project, we'll also be doing some improvements to Gowan Road for turning lanes, and we'll also be doing a new access road into that area. So lots of things that are happening. I was mentioning to some of you before commission started this morning, over the Labor Day weekend, we were down to 300 spaces available total at the airport. So that gives us a little bit of pause. It's great news. It means people are flying, people are traveling, and we're excited to see that rebound. However, that's not a lot of parking. And when we think about what's coming in terms of, for example, Thanksgiving, which is traditionally one of our busiest travel seasons, we know that we need to expand our existing lot. And so this has been in our plan for over a year to expand our economy lot by over 300 spaces. The groundbreaking for that will take place in the middle of this month. This is a little bit more of a housekeeping item, but if you happen to see some construction going on out on our aircraft parking apron by the sea gates, this is Alaska Airlines adding a new glycol tank. And this is what they use for de-icing aircraft. So if you ever are flying out in the winter and they say, oh, we have to de-ice, this is the fluid that they're using to de-ice the wings. And you know, they're just adding a larger tank here. We're also doing some repair to our asphalt in the general aviation parking, aircraft parking areas along Jackson Jet Center and the New City T hangars. This is just routine maintenance. We try to replace pavement every year. We have so much pavement here that by the time we get done replacing it all, it's time to start back at the beginning. So this is pretty routine work for us, but important. We do have some air service updates, and I don't know if you happen to see this in the news, but AHA, which was scheduled to come to Boise and fly nonstop from Boise to Reno, announced that they have entered in bankruptcy. And we're disappointed because that's one of the routes that I think is coveted by our community in terms of nonstop service. But when you look at the economics of regional jet flying, it's just becoming prohibitively expensive between the cost for the crews, pilot costs, and pilot shortages, what it takes to recruit them, and then also incredibly high fuel costs. While they've come down, they are still at historic highs. So that is not going to happen. And I think you can say the same things about the reductions in service from Alaska to some of these other destinations. It's all tied back to crew availability. We did, however, have Spirit launch new nonstop service from Boise to Vegas. And in addition, they granted a charitable donation of $20,000 to Global Gardens here in our community. So they're already working to make an impact. See, we also have a Velo, which is a new low-cost carrier that has entered our market, flying nonstop to Burbank. And they are a new airline, and they celebrated their 1,000th passenger, was actually a passenger on the Boise flight. And so they gave round trip vouchers to everyone that was on that flight. And then they also added 10 vouchers that were hidden in the seats for the outbound flight. So it was a nice celebration and some good public relations from them. And despite some of the things that we've seen, such as, AHA going bankrupt and some of the seat reductions, Boise's actually been rated as one of the top 10 most recovered airports in the country. And this was based on the number of seats that are available from 2019 compared to 2022. In the bottom, you can see that our number of seats available has increased 18%. So we have about 118% of the seats available that we did in 2019. So when you think about the fact that 2019 was a record year for us, again, it indicates that we'll probably continue to see strong passenger travel because the number of seats and the number of passengers correlate very closely. The other thing that I would point out is if you look at all of these other destinations, with the exception of Austin, arguably, all of these other destinations that are highly recovered are very much tourism-focused destinations that gained substantially during the pandemic. The only other exception to that would be Colorado Springs, but I think that they were actually underserved pre-pandemic because they were in the shadow of Denver. And so they also have managed to recruit substantial new air service during that time. In fact, they recruited Southwest, which they did not have prior to the pandemic. So when you look at the mix of airports, I think it's very favorable to Boise that we're on this list in this way. We've talked before about airline use and lease agreements, and they're complex, and I'm happy to report that I think that we are going to be able to reach an agreement with our airlines. The current agreements expire October 1. We have reached agreement on all of the major components. The two primary issues that we needed to reach agreement on were the rates and charges for next year, which we've reached agreement on, and then also on that majority and interest clause that allows the airlines to have some say in our capital improvement plan. And we've reached agreement on those two items. We'll be going forward with a two-pronged approach, which is we will move forward with the airline use and lease agreement. We will continue to negotiate that if the current agreement expires October 1. So we will extend the existing agreement to January 1, to the end of the year, but we will also put in place a resolution. So that way, if negotiations break down, they don't agree to a minor issue, or we encounter some other hiccup in the process, the rates by resolution will go into effect January 1. If we do come to agreement, this gives us enough time to, the extension actually gives us enough time to finalize the agreement, get comments back from the airlines, and then implement the new agreement January 1. And the rates will be retroactive to the beginning of our fiscal year, October 1. So I think it keeps us whole. It's a great compromise, and we're very happy that we've been able to reach a tentative agreement. There's still some things that we need to work out, for example, joint use on gates and some of those things. But how we treat non-signatory carriers, there's several other smaller issues that we need to come to agreement on. But this is, I think, very good news for the airport, for the airlines, and for our community as a whole. So excited about that. Last time we were here, we were talking about some potential rezone of airport property that we would be able to use for industrial development. And I'm happy to say that the city council did approve our rezone on this non-aeronautical property. So it will give us another 75 acres that we can include in our master developer agreement. We did remove those A2 parcels closest to Indian Lakes from the proposal. We're going to continue to evaluate that, but this will give us more property available for development. We've been doing a lot of work here on capital projects, and there's no shortage of things to do. And as Matt and I talk, every time we talk, we come up with some new projects that we need to be thinking about and working on. And we will be hosting an open house. We are not actually hosting it at the airport because parking is at a premium. But we will be hosting an airport open house And we've invited the American Institute of Architects and the American Council of Engineering Companies and Association of General Contractors to an open house to learn more about our upcoming projects. We get, as you can imagine, requests for meetings from different companies that want to meet with us and learn about the different projects and opportunities to do business with the airport. And this allows us to do that type of meeting and presentation all in one venue. So it's very, I think, beneficial for those who attend. They have a keen interest in learning more about it. And it's very helpful for us to be able to direct everyone to this. We also practiced our emergency exercise plan, and we do this every 3 years. We hosted this on August 18th. It's required by FAA, and by all reports, the exercise was a big success. So thank you to those that participated in that, because it is a pretty heavy lift. We talked about, we lost one of our key employees, Zack Thompson, unfortunately this spring, and we hosted a workout of the day commemoration event for him. And we started with a heart healthy breakfast. As you know, he passed away with a heart attack. And we had employees do activities throughout the day in remembrance of Zack, and then made a donation to the American Heart Association in his honor. So it's a nice way to remember him. We also, last week, had, just last week? A couple weeks ago, we had an event at the airport with food trucks for all employees. We had food trucks out here literally morning, noon, and night, and to cover all of our shifts and recognize all of our employees who are here in their work over the last year, but really specifically to call out employees who've hit some pretty substantial milestones. And we have 2 employees that have over 25 years with us this year. 30 years, we have Alan Hardy, who's in our maintenance division, and then Emily Hansen, who's in our custodial division, and a number of other people. We also have some new employees that I want to recognize. Michael Crane is here. He's joining us from Burbank, the long awaited Michael Crane. He is joining us as our airport operations manager. And then we have Andre was promoted to airport maintenance technician. And then Gabe just recently retired after 22 years with us as an airport custodian. And I won't read these to you, but I think so many times what we hear from passengers are complaints. People always take time to write when they're unhappy, and they don't take time to write when they are happy. And I just wanted to pass this along because it truly is a reflection on the airport, even though these were not airport employees per se. When people think about employees, whether it be in the news and gift store, food and beverage, the wheelchairs, it's just Boise Airport. So we'll take the credit as well as the blame. So I touched on this a little bit. July employments continue to be up. They were up 11% compared to 2019. It was our busiest month on record. So we continue to see passenger travel increase. And again, up 6% compared to 2019 year to date, 30% up compared to 2021. These are our top 10 operating revenues. You can see operating revenue continues to be up, and we attribute this, of course, to increased landings and increased passenger travel. Expenses tend to be up as well. Some of the big changes that we've talked about, the indirect cost reimbursement, we've talked about this before, but you haven't all been here for the whole year. Part of that is because software costs that we used to include and pay directly is now included in this indirect cost reimbursement fee that we pay to the city. The parking management includes all of our parking credit card fees, but it also includes the shuttle operations. So as we increase shuttle operations, we have a new shuttle lot that we're using for employees, as well as increased frequency in shuttles. That's gone up substantially. And then engineering services is just attributable to all of the different projects that we have going on at the airport. And that concludes my report. I would be happy to stand for any questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Executive Director. So this is the point in which any of the commissioners can direct a question to Rebecca. And just a reminder for those, since we have a lot of new people, that we follow Robert's rules. And so Robert's rules are that if you want to direct a question to the director or to a speaker at the podium, you first get the attention of the chair. So you would say, Madam Chair, and I would acknowledge you, and then you would ask your question. And we always try to address Executive Director by her name, rather than just throwing questions out there wildly. So we're a bit formal, but it does maintain order in our process. So do any of the commissioners have a question they would like to direct?
Madam Chair, this is Garrett.
Yes.
Madam Chair, Rebecca, I do have a question. Have we been experiencing any of the cancellations that have been so prominently on the news lately across the nation? Has that been a problem for us?
We have experienced some cancellations. I think it hasn't had as dramatic of an impact in Boise as other places because most of our passengers are starting and ending their trip at Boise. And so it's not the connections that where people are missing connections. So we definitely have experienced some delays, some cancellations, but not, I don't think the horror stories that you're hearing out of, for example, Chicago, not to pick on anybody, but I did get stuck in Chicago in August, so.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Rebecca.
Other questions? Well, Rebecca, I want to congratulate you on the excellent progress on the airline use and lease agreement, because that was a huge undertaking, and I know it's not to the finish line yet, but given the different ways it could have gone, it is quite an accomplishment, and it will set us up to be in a very good position going forward as we evaluate and renegotiate those agreements. So kudos to you and your team, and I know you had outside counsel, which is really important in that process.
It was incredibly helpful, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And then also congratulations on your reaching your 10-year milestone.
The whole decade.
Yeah. Having been here when we recruited you, yes, it's been wonderful. So at this point, if there are no more questions, we're going to move forward with commissioners' comments. And I want to start with Carrie Westergaard, because Carrie is recently appointed to the commission and had a conflict last month. So I've asked her to lead off and tell us a little bit about herself, her background, and her interest in serving in this role.
Thank you, Madam Chair, fellow commissioners, Director Huff. Well, I'm thrilled to be here, very excited. I have been in the hospitality industry my entire career, so that's been about 25-ish years. I love the industry. I'm currently, for the last 8 years almost, the director of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. So we are the destination marketing organization for Boise and the metro area. We have seen a lot of what the airport's seen with travelers, both leisure and meetings and conventions. Our requests for proposals are back up to prior to 2019 numbers. So we're excited about that. We are working with journalists again next week. I'm heading to San Francisco for a media mission. We also are hosting an influencer from Atlanta to take the nonstop Delta flight here and blog and write about it. So we're excited about her. She's got huge impact in that metro area. And then also another media that we're working with Ido Tourism on is coming from Canada at the end of the month. So excited that's back on. I've been traveling a ton. I've been through probably 9 airports in the last month, and Boise's my favorite. There's been some delays. We've definitely seen the shortage of pilots, and but nothing traumatic. But I'm glad travel's back on. Thank you for having me.
Great. Well, welcome aboard. Jamie.
Madam Chair, thank you, Rebecca. Just want to say thanks for ensuring your trust in me and for the vice president role. I'm excited to fill that position. as a pilot, it's been a good summer. Unfortunately, the smoke is here, so we'll have to deal with the smoke, hopefully for a short amount of time. I do want to commend the airport ops and the FAA. It's been a busy summer and they've done a good job with the closures, trying to keep pilots and aircraft moving through the delays and the closures. So they've all got a tough job, but they're keeping their cool, and hopefully pilots can continue to do that as well. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. General
And no comments. Happy to be here. Thank you.
and John.
Madam Chair, same, no additional comments today.
And on Zoom, Garrett Nicholas.
Madam Chair, thank you. Just congratulations to the new chair and new vice chair. Madam Chair, thank you for your service. Rebecca, to you and your staff, again, you just do such a phenomenal job. It's an honor to serve on this commission. And other than that, I don't have anything. Thank you.
And Patrick Benton.
Madam Chair, nothing from me other than, I guess I just point out that it's not too late to put other things on Bill Vasconcelos's plate while he's not here.
Sounds like an excellent idea.
That's what happens when you miss a meeting.
Absolutely. Well, very good. So at this point, I think we have the privilege of hearing from Matt on the consolidated rental car.
All right, yeah, Matt's gonna, if I may, Matt's gonna go through the details on our consolidated rental car facility. As you recall, this is one of the key components for our BOI upgrade program, and we need to move the rental cars in order to be able to do a terminal expansion. And Matt has been leading this effort, and we haven't talked about it a lot because it's been in the early design phases, but I want to give a huge shout out to Matt and his team, because much like the airlines, as you can imagine, the rental cars can be very competitive and they have very strong ideas about what they would like and what they would not like. And Matt has managed to herd all of these cats. And we really have gotten to a place where I think we have an exceptional design and we have an exceptional project. And that's really a credit to Matt, the work he's been doing and the team that he's put together. So with that, I'll turn it over to Matt.
Good morning. Rebecca talked a little bit about the challenges we have parking and airlines and such, but the rental cars, we kind of forget about that, but is actually a very large component at the airport. The rental car fleet's about 10,000 cars here at the Boise Airport. You wouldn't think that, but most of them are out on rental. And our current facilities are right on top of where we're going to build Concourse A in the future. So we've had this plan since the master plan to develop a close-in garage. Let's see.
I don't think it's working on that. I'm the one who's.
Okay,
I'm filling
you're-
forward for you, Matt.
All right, well, this is good here. Anyway, we're going to build a close-in garage to put for the rental cars. So they can consolidate. Currently, the rental cars have a very small footprint where the ready return are, and then they have multiple, probably about 4 or 5 facilities down on Wright Street, and then there's several off-site too. And so there's a lot of car shuffling back and forth, a lot of congestion on the roadways. And this will consolidate all of that in one location, and it sets us up for way into the future. We're going to actually put the maintenance facility adjacent to it in the future. So you'll see here. Go ahead, Rebecca. Well, here, hold on a second. 7-story, about a little over almost 1,100 stalls, and then up on the roof, it's actually not covered on the roof. 7 levels will be storage, about $66 million. This project is being funded with customer facility charge, which is a charge that we charge per rental car contract day, currently at $6 a day. And we're currently cash flowing the project through design and have a balance of about 16 million for the project right now. The balance of that we will issue later this year. We'll start probably first next year. We'll be issuing a revenue bond for the major portion of the project, which will be guaranteed the CFCs against that. Like I said, 7 levels. the CESA is customer service area. That's the area where we're basically relocating all their ticket counters or their customer counters and that type of facility. Go ahead. Location. Currently, the rental cars are in this area, the end of the baggage claim. Going to be where the old State Aeronautics hangar was. And same route, people will come in and they will leave out Luke Street like they currently do. So the traffic pattern will pretty much stay the same. So tight, very, very tight location. We've crammed as much in there as we can. There was a lot of pressure from the rental cars to do more, but we held a line here. This is the limits for the concourse. So we basically designed the concourse geometry first, then we established where we could build this. And we'll have a covered walkway connecting from the baggage claim to here. So go ahead, Rebecca. So that better view. Customs, here's the garage, couple helixes. There's the customer service area, 6 levels, each at different floors. And then, like I said, a connecting walkway. And then in the future, the concourse will be about right in here. Another view from a different angle. Rendering, go ahead. Connecting walkway, we're kind of linking it, going to take an opportunity for this link to really connect it to the terminal building. We're going to incorporate a lot of art and natural environment type stuff in here, a lot of landscaping and such. Kind of a sense of place when people arrive at the rental car facility. Go ahead. We're currently at just finishing up schematic design. That's about 30% design. And just recently did a solicitation for a construction manager at risk for the construction part of it. We try getting them involved in schematic design so that they can bring a lot of value engineering and scheduling and that kind of and cost estimating. We just completed that McElvain construction companies with teamed up with Austin Commercial, and they'll be contractor on the project. But in the for the design, it's a local firm. HDR is the lead architect, and they have Demente Wong out of Dallas, Texas, as their Conrack specialist. They kind of, that's all they do is Conracks. A little bit of background: the Conracks, there's only about 8 or 10 of them in the whole country, and it's kind of the trend to get those rental cars compact right adjacent to the airport to improve that customer service for the rental cars. They were not busing them across town or anything like that. And so this will actually set Boise up as a very first-class facility, high level of customer service with this. Ready return, basically, it's kind of laid out generically, but they'll park all different ways. Some park parallel, angle, depending on the different companies. How we divide the floor space will be based on market share and a bid process. They'll go through a formal RFP where they can actually bid on it and basically plus market share, and quite a complex formula. And that will determine where the rental cars or how much floor they get or what position they get. Each company will have a customer service area on every floor to have their branding and that type of thing. Yeah, keep going. That's just up on the upper deck. That's just storage where they're just going to park nose to tail and just cram as many vehicles. These are kind of ready to go storage cars that are clean and ready to go, and they don't have no place down below, so they store them up on top. Good use of that space. Customer service area. This is a little bit. We're going to go through that. 6-level, 4 building. This is actually an older rendering, but essentially move the elevators to the east side. But essentially, it's just a elevator, cool and core area, restroom, that type of facility. And then they'll have their customer counters, their admin offices, some support, those type of things, IT. This is just kind of some more renderings of it. Phase two, phase one, we're planning to start construction probably about March next year, break ground on this. And it's about a 2-year process. We'll finish up in 2025. And then in 2027, we are going to begin construction of phase two, which is a quick turnaround area. So essentially, this is where they do the fueling, the wash, and prepping the vehicle for the new lease. And we're doing it on 3 levels. So one level will serve 2 different ready return floors, and very complex. This gets into a lot of very complex code issues when you start fueling above ground and car wash in an unheated facility and stuff like that. So this will be a very challenging one, but we're actually proceeding through schematic design on this so that that we can get the code officials to agree to it. Go ahead. You can kind of see here how it attaches on the west side there. And there will be a shuttler ramp here. The public will never go into this facility. It will just be employees. And this will take off a tremendous amount of traffic off the road because they're, like I said, those cars transfer multiple times a day, and there's just a constant shuttling of cars from offsite facilities. So it'll all be done internally in this facility here, and that will improve the efficiency and reduce the cost for the rental cars, but it also improves the security because every time they get a car off site, there's the potential for damage, theft, those kind of things, especially as you get larger. And so the rental cars are very conscious of that, and they want to keep it in the campus.
Question, Matt. Where are they doing the fueling and washing now?
Currently on Wright Street, as you go down Wright Street below north of the garage right along the interstate, there's a couple of facilities there, and then there's a couple off-site airport, off airport sites. So they're doing them all over.
Okay. And second question, I know with car washing, gray water is an issue in terms of disposal.
We are incorporating a recycling of the water in here on the car wash. So yeah. Well, this kind of shows a rendering of when we get finished. Just a point of reference, the employee garage is being constructed right here, so you'll kind of shield that from the interstate. That'll be a 5-level garage. This is 7. And this will be the QTA in the future. And once again, all the traffic will be very similar to this now. The loop coming down there. Yeah.
Matt, does that remove another hanger?
Yes. There's currently Gem State hangar right here, and that one there, that lease expires in summer 27, and that's the timing of that we're planning on this. And this is consistent with the master plan that we've been carrying forward since 2017 and 18. So it's consistent with what we've been communicating to the tenants. In fact, we are actually working with that tenant on we've identified a site for a new hangar for them. I think that's the end of it. Any questions might have? Oh, anyway, I told you the CFC is the funding source and the schedule, but right now everything's on schedule. The design's moving forward real well, and the construction management at risk contract finalized, and then they'll be actively engaging in the design, input to the design team of how to value engineering, so we get the best economy we can.
Yes.
Matt, what are you doing with the customer service area downstairs right now that the counters are?
We got plans to repurpose that of several options. One is we're looking at creating possibly relocating our credentialing and our operations down there, possibly some gift and storage, maybe possibly some baggage type functions. So there's several things that we're exploring right now. But it won't be vacant. We'll repurpose it. We have the need.
Right, I'm sure ticket counters would like that spot too. It's a pretty prime spot, but yeah, that's a big space.
Matt, do any of the rental car companies currently have electric vehicles in their inventory? And if not, are they expecting you to anticipate that at this facility and be ready to go if they start adding those?
They're dabbling with it right now. I think we got one electric vehicle on campus right now, and as a pilot project. We have entered into discussions with her. They're at the very beginning of this, and we are already have met with Idaho Power, and we're going to put in the slice the electrical service and provide extra empty conduit and room for electrical gear. And then we're going to allow the rental cars to do that as a tenant improvement on their own dime, on their own schedule, because they're doing it as a marketing thing. You know, we're greener than our competition, so they're all going to be on different schedules. And but we're basically encouraging it and providing the facilities for them to do it.
Thank you.
One question.
Yes.
Matt, did you say they had 10,000 cars in their inventory? So if there's only 1,000 stalls, where are the other 9,000 going?
There's probably about 70% of the cars are out on rental at any one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's-
If they're not 70%, they're not making money. So there's and there's a whole bunch down there by the economy lot down off Orchard. If you see that big south of there, that's overflow there in that field. That's what a lot of that's happening. And that's actually happening at other sites around town. That's not the only one. They have their own private ones too. that they're filling.
Any questions from our Zoom participants? Yes.
Matt, do you want to just talk about the process with the city and design review and when we'll be bringing that to council? And
Yeah, we've submitted for design review. This is the whole airport's on the frontage here is in the design review area where they review the architecture and the landscaping and those kind of things. Make sure it's consistent with the, and we're trying to be consistent with the rest of the airport campus. The terminal building, make it complement that. And so we have submitted for design review. I believe we have a public meeting on October 12th, I think somewhere in there, or 18th, somewhere in there. And then we'll have a meeting for design review for both a height exception, a variance for height, which we've already received on all of our other garages, so that should be an issue. But we have to go through that process too. And so there will be a public meeting in that part of October. And I think we're also going to make a presentation to council in early October too.
Very good.
right.
Thank you so much. Very exciting project. So at this point in the agenda, we open up to the public either on Zoom or in person and remind people there is a 5-minute limit unless the chair extends their time. Is there anybody present who would like to take the podium? Anybody on Zoom? See anybody? No.
No hands raised.
Oh, well, this has been a very efficient meeting, I must say. Yes, indeed. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here, and thank you to new commissioners who are getting off their training wheels and getting comfortable. And it's been a pleasure to serve as your chair in the last year, and I look forward to being an active and supportive member of the commission for our new chair and vice chair. And with that, I think we should ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. All in favor, aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed, nay? We stand adjourned. Thank you.